last night to Space Station Gaming Day 2, 0-2, and facing the prospect that the NAL champions could be leaving the Montreal Major as early as, well, a couple of hours from now. I don't know who you've really got in this matchup. I've had a look online. I've looked at some of the socials. It seems like a genuine 50-50. Really kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, this is a real tough one for me. I was pretty hot on G2 being able to make it through to the third phase at this event, but that was heading in to the event before it actually did kick off. Unfortunately here so far, G2 haven't really performed to my expectation. And I think Soniqs just a little bit more well-rounded, top seed out of North America. They should have the legs in them, I think, to have a pretty deep run here through the Swiss stage. But unfortunately, it hasn't been necessarily the best of starts from them, and we need to see them kickstart something special here this evening. Clubhouse will go for the first map. Very excited to jump into this one as the bands do come through. Pretty standard for Club, most notably the Mav and the Kaid combo here on this map. Very prevalent, a lot of those exterior hard breach walls. The Maverick is a popular choice, and the Kaid for those basement hatches.
So Clubhouse we go, Soniqs on the defense to begin. Again, I think so far throughout phase 2, in the way that they've been playing, it doesn't seem maybe as grim as the scoreline does suggest for them at 0-2. They've been actually able to perform in both of their games, but alas, falling short. The other key caveat coming into this game as well is the fact that North America has not beaten another team at the Major, unless it was another North American team, which happened last night, SSG over Soniqs. So they've got some big hurdles to overcome mentally. For G2, we're 2 after that loss to Scars. We actually got to cast that game, and they looked quite average. I think when it comes to G2, some of the key takeaways for me is just the fact that at times they just lacked, especially on a lot of their defensive setups. They allowed too many times Scars to just get some free attacking rounds because they just systematically didn't have good positioning. So a lot of that's going to have to be improved, especially when they eventually get into the second half. Defense Clubhouse, you've got to be able to do the basics. It's a really difficult one to split these two teams. Alas, for best of threes, we do get a couple of really good opportunities to see as they develop throughout this series. But it is an elimination game. You lose this and you are out of the Major. Crucial couple of maps coming up.
Now, in terms of comparing these teams like for like heading into this match, G2, there's a little bit more data. They've played the 7 maps thus far here at Montreal. In comparison, Soniqs only the 2. G2 go into this with a 40.5% win rate on attack compared to Soniqs at a pretty solid 50%, but there's a big differential in terms of the defensive win rate. G2 sitting at about 61%, Soniqs trailing behind many teams at the event at 35.5%. So for Soniqs, they need to show a little bit more defensively here in this matchup, and thankfully for us, we'll get a showcase here over the course of the first 6 rounds. It is a basement defense to kick things off at a pretty standard composition defensively, and the attack rather on meta as well. Expect Doki to play quite a bit of Deimos. It's one of his favorite attacking operators, and we'll see that brought out for the first round to help gather information. The Ram in exchange for Buck, and that will help open up vert lines of sight through kitchen hallway and kitchen itself. And of course, don't look past the double hard breach combination to eventually open up hatches and potentially triple wall. And then Alamau on the blitz will no doubt be able to create some space as well. Ambi very early on in the piece looking to contest main, not looking for drone utility, but instead using smokes to help stall out this push.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a minute 22 remaining in this round already. This is actually being quite stagnant. I mean, yeah, a little bit of pressure over towards main, as you mentioned with Ambi, over towards that position with the smoke. The gas babe's out nice and early, a little bit of pressure. Not much work being done, though, over towards the kitchen hatch. Stock hatch still as well, reinforced. G2's pace is going to have to certainly pick up. They do have to blitz, and they can eventually just push down main if they want to, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Doki does get the kill onto Ambi, playing a rather aggressive position on that smoke. Rather than deep sight, we can play off the gas babes to eventually deny things like plants. That gives G2 the opening advantage, and from there, they get that kill, they split. They maneuver around the map. They can push through dirt, they can go over towards blue. 45 seconds, though. They need to keep this pacing going.
Yeah, dirt was soft, so that's an avenue that G2 can look to exploit. An attempt to open up triple, though, is dissuaded by Canadian up close with those bandit batteries. So too has this dirt push been stalled out of the back of the Goyo. So the util game from the Soniqs actually quite strong through this latter portion of the round.
Guys, there's 20 seconds. I mean, come on now. Got to pick up the pace here. They kind of stalled themselves out, thought about dirt, and then pivoted, moved away from that position. And suddenly you're just sitting down main, playing long hallway. Heading into red time, the slow push up from Loira trying to find a freebie onto Rexon, who does push forward. Grexon will also fall. Double from Loira on the push through main. They needed something special. And in the end, though, it is Soniqs that come up better. Holding strong defensively, Canadian. And in the end, G2's push just looked so stagnant for large portions of that opening round. And while they were able to get the kill onto Ambi through main stairs, I thought they did a decent job pushing away from that position to eventually try and get dirt pressure, blue pressure through secret. They all just then kind of huddled back over towards main, and no one really did anything. There's like 15 seconds left, and Laura's like, I gotta go find something. And while he does find 2 kills, everyone else falls apart, and that's all too easy for Soniqs.
So a technical pause then called at the conclusion of the first round, so hopefully we can get this fixed pretty quickly. Yeah, a bit of a strange round there from G2, brute forcing eventually a Deimos there in through main and found Ambi, gave themselves the advantage. Then tried, as you sort of mentioned, to experiment with a couple of different ideas with Dirt Soft and maybe the Deimos over towards blue. Tried to range hard breach, triple wall, and Canadian countered that. It then limited options, and it meant that they didn't have a whole lot of time remaining. Push down long was strong, but still not enough to deal with the anchors on site. And Soniqs, with such strong anchor play, you need to ensure that you have the time and the info to help trade out those positions at a bare minimum.
I was a little bit worried about Ambi's position. It's aggressive, I like it. You always want to try and have some of that pressure main stairs to deny that vert play in through kitchen and the hallway thusly, but you're playing the smoke, you've got those gas babes, you can delay for the late game, and eventually at some point you got to try and find your way back. But as soon as the floorboards get opened up, that cross back in through bot main stairs is so much more difficult to then get back to site. He has to pretty much play to the death. He loses his life. And typically when it comes to attacking into Clubhouse, all you really need is that opening pick, 5v4, try and hit site. Use the numbers advantage essentially, because then you can just go in, start to get trades off each other and you've got the numbers. But they didn't do that. They stalled themselves out. And that's the disappointing part when it comes to G2.
I have listed here that that opening pick was with 1:02 on the clock.
They had time.
Time in Siege can be a funny game. It didn't feel like they were taking that long to clear that position, but the numbers don't lie.
I mean, Laura does a decent job as we head into the tech balls immediately after that opening round. You kind of look back over for Soniqs. They didn't really do a whole lot outside of Ambi, so rather default. But I think that's the way you want to typically start a series like this. I mean, you're playing Clubhouse defense, and it's a best of 3. You don't need to do any kind of funny shenanigans. Kind of keep it simple, keep it default. Force G2 to be the ones to have to try and clear you out, make these mistakes, make these errors. And in the end, the error really was the time lapse that they eventually found themselves in. Unfortunate for this technical pause, to apologize. But gives us more time to kind of just dissect the series as a whole and where we think this potentially may go, Guz, because it really is a bit of a toss-up. Coin flip, if you will. I think it's a good terminology. It's really difficult to predict this because I think both teams have shown really good aspects of what they are expected to bring at an event like this at the Montreal Major. G2 in Phase 1, I think for the most part, we kind of expected them to get out, and they did. As for Soniqs, I mean, they've had a pretty tough run. I mean, Virtus Pro actually looking pretty good. They got another win earlier just before this as well. As we head to the replays for that opening round. Yeah, Loira does well. Honestly, all things considered, I wasn't expecting him to be able to just walk in through main hallway and find 2 kills. Kept things alive for G2. But outside of that one individual heroic, the team as a whole really blundered that attacking round. Especially considering you get that opening pick. You're not going to get that many chances. Well played from Soniqs on the board early. It is their map pick, though, and they're on defense club, so we have to temper those expectations a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be in for the long haul for this particular matchup.
You direct this, direct. Con first. Oh, we have to remake the rounds.
Looks like we have re-entered into another technical pause. Thought perhaps we would get the match underway once more, but sounds like a rehost has also been called. And so the discussions may resume.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's always one of the worst times to get a rehost as well. One round in, you haven't really got a whole lot to go off. You don't really want to break down that one particular round to the death of it. We've already kind of spoken a little bit about, you know, both of these teams coming in. I mean, for Soniqs, I guess this is now where if we're just going to go into podcast mode, shout out Jake and Guz. Got to do it every time. I think for Soniqs, there's more riding on this match. Is that fair to say? I think that's well and truly fair to say.
I think so.
You cannot have the NAL champions going out here in round 3 of the Phase 2 bracket. And not only that, not only are you being eliminated, but you're eliminated 0-3.
And SI.
and SI.
That's the even bigger...
Of course, there's the last chance qualifiers, but in terms of SI points, you would be
massive.
out.
Yeah.
The roster changes that have been made, the amazing stage that they had in Stage 2, to culminate in a loss here at the Major in this fashion would be devastating, and certainly an unexpected one. For G2, it's a little bit different, but it also would be quite a travesty as to where they originally were once, to where they potentially could be now. And for them as well, the run has been a little bit more different. Sure, some success in Phase 1, expected though. But that loss to Scars yesterday, well, has maybe caused some scars of their own.
Yeah. I think, like for like, Soniqs should be more favored of all the teams that find themselves in an 0-2 position to probably make a run. I think with the experience of Canadian at the helm, the amount of pressure that some of their young gunners can offer inside of the server as well, in this best of 3 format, best of 3 situation they now find themselves in, they should be well suited. G2, I don't know if they quite have that same well-rounded polish. They do have a lot of experience though on that roster, so I wouldn't completely rule them out from having impact, but this first match likely to be a tough one from them. And that first round, a good sign from Soniqs. So we highlighted a little bit there back when this match begun. Their defensive win rate so far here at Montreal has really let them down. It's lagged behind a lot of the rest of the competition. They've let a lot of rounds go astray despite the data maybe being a little bit more limited. And I'm sure that's been a big focal point for them heading into today, how they can tidy up defense and ensure that they're capitalizing on those particular halves.
Yeah, this is an extended technical pause. Of course, the rehost that was involved, we can see on our perspective that they're getting slowly back into the lobby. I don't think this favors any team, by the way. We're 1 round in. This is completely null and void. If anything, maybe a slight reset for G2, considering the potential opportunities they did have in that opening round and unable to capitalize. I will say, though, looking at the actual player camps and what we've been able to see in terms of the body language for the teams themselves, they look pretty calm. Considering the stakes that are on offer here and the elimination game that we are in for both of these two teams, two juggernauts really of the Siege landscape, everyone looks pretty chill. I don't know if it'll be that way if we get to, say, a map 3, for example. That's when the nerves might kick in.
That's why I love elimination games. Of course, qualification games can be just as exciting, but not maybe as much necessarily in a 2-0 Swiss phase, but 0-2 Swiss phase. That's when the pressure really begins to ramp up. It feels like at this point in time now, the event really starts to kick into another gear, and the teams that can rise to that occasion, like I think Soniqs perhaps probably will this evening, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch as that pressure ramps up if a map 3 is to be played through. Well, I'm hearing somebody, I believe it may have been Canadian, requesting that the team redials in because it seems like we will be getting back into the game in a moment. Which is good to see.
If they try to ban it,
yeah, and very quickly before we do get back into the game, you know, coming over some of the stats that we've seen from Soniqs in the matches they've played so far. I mean, Ambi has been by far and away their best player, 126 EPS. The next best has been Rexon, 110. And then after that, no one else in the triple digits for Soniqs. So I think when you kind of look at that on paper, you've got 2 players that are playing statistically above average, but then the other 3 are all playing below average. Can Soniqs in this series find a way for it to become more of a team-orientated effort to find the result? It cannot just be the Ambi show featuring Rexon, like Batman and Robin. You need the whole crew. You need the whole gang if you're going to find success. 1-0 start. Rehost concluded, and we can get back into this elimination matchup and hopefully carry some momentum forward as we head over to Gym and Bedroom for the second round of Clubhouse. It is the map pick of Soniqs, and we are back underway.
So the dynamic then will naturally shift quite a bit on this particular objective, and there's a couple of opportunities that G2 may look to exploit on this attack, whether it be a map sweep from CCTV and Cash Cross, or perhaps they'll look to direct their efforts a little bit more through Jacuzzi. Some teams even split that and try to exploit whichever side at any given moment is perhaps weakened defensively by Soniqs. G2 definitely showed in the previous round a willingness to try and adapt on the fly, but unfortunately last time around they didn't have a ton of time on the clock, and it did prove ultimately very, very costly. We'll kick things off though over towards Con. Can open that up freely off the back of the EMP to counter the Bandit battery from Ambi, who may be looking to actively trick this Jacuzzi wall. Or perhaps he's elsewhere. He is currently over towards top red stairs, so this wall, again, will be opened up uncontested. And so the hard breach game, at least for G2 this time around, has been far more effective.
Yeah, I mean, with both Con, single wall, and Jacuzzi opened up already, this is a decent start from G2. And beyond the Bandit hasn't really been able to do much, as he said, over towards that cash side of the map. This is a very strong angle from Surf to see if he can maybe pick one early, and he does eventually with the rotate back in towards bedroom. He catches Blaz. That's a nice free kill. I mean, the Ace has done his job, so in terms of hard breach, you've still got the Thermite, but you don't really need much more hard breach from here anyway. Bathroom opened up, but it is a 1-0 start for Soniqs in the round. They'll happily take that one. And they've got decent site control, although another pick. Laura does get one, but immediately traded. Ambi with a nice quick response keeps the advantage for Soniqs with 90 seconds remaining in the round. And G2 are going to have to find a way down a player. But Uno in towards Jim. Statistically, hasn't quite been performing for G2, but he's going to go for the fast plan. Is there a response? No one from Soniqs even remotely close. Nitro Cell is good from Grixer. Canadian did lose his life, but most importantly for Soniqs, they've denied the plant from going down.
The drop from Doki, though, brings it back to the 2 versus 2, and a minute on the clock. Alamau also able to pounce. Rexer now looking to clutch up over towards Logistic, but position known, sprays the first. Alamau up close, also falls.
Wow.
Hey, sit your bitch ass down, boy!
Oh!
Y'all real quiet over there!
Be calm. Relax.
Yo, where the fuck are you looking, Alamau?
Sheesh. It's been a lot of talking and a lot of shouting from a lot of the North Americans, but not a lot of winning. Maybe this series that can change.
Yeah, I maybe could have.
Hey, you said it, not me. We're in the land of North America. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything nasty.
Hey, I've got to say though, being honest, I actually admire the shit talk that we've seen from these guys. Even if they're losing, they still give it, and that actually is where you get the respect. It's easy to talk smack when you're up, when you're winning. You know, especially in a best of 3, if you're already one map up and you're deep into the second map and you're winning. It's so easy to get into the all chat and start doing question marks and all that. It's another thing though when it's at the very beginning. You're trying to set that tone nice and early. I don't hate it at all. Great Nitro Cell from Grixer though. That salvages the round, and then it comes down to a 1v1. Alamau, where were you
Wait, did he actually look away there? Or is that a weird... It looks like he flicked away towards main there, right?
Yo, where the fuck are you?
Where was he looking? Good question.
Where was he looking? We're going to have to start getting some like live bleepers in for the North Americans. So 2-0 start for Soniqs. I mean, admittedly in both of the rounds, you know, G2 have certainly had their chances. Like, this has not been a whitewash by any means. As we head over to Cash and CCTV for the 3rd round, it is a good start for Soniqs. But G2 not without their opportunities. They had the opening pick in the opening round, and of course then in the second round came down to a 1v1.
So it is Cash and CCTV in play then for the 3rd round. Can Soniqs look to put the cherry on top for this first rotation? It's looking like a map sweep early on here though from G2. And Alamau almost able to pounce there onto Canadian, I believe it was, who overswings that position.
Canadian!
To be fair, he was caught, had to try and make a play. Was never going to get out of that position.
Well, Doki does double down as well for G2, and it's the strongest start to a round that we've seen from them, but Ambi catches out Doki. The young prodigy has started well so far in this elimination match. He might get caught on the cross back in towards Lounge. No, he actually gets himself into a position where he can fight back against Blaz and does some decent damage. Ambi's done a really decent job to maneuver around the map. Not only find a kill, but get back to site. 4 versus 3. I mean, that is a tremendous effort.
Yeah, good example of just bringing this round now back into the realm of possibility for Soniqs. Critically gets back to the objective, life intact. And there's still decent positions being played here at the moment from Soniqs, but equally the information from G2 in response also clean. Only the 3 drones up, but one of those critically inside of Cash. Main wall able to be opened up now as well, and the pressure will really begin to ramp up for Soniqs. Kit, though, to be rotated for a likely con hit, it would seem, from G2.
Ambi Ambi goes for some pressure, tries to get some information, but all he found was Alamau, and the trade's continuing to flow for G2. Down to Surf in a 1v3, does catch one, has some time, but he does need to get a wriggle on as the push in towards site coming through now to CCTV for Uno. He's at the server rack, and Surf might just shut the boat down! Oh, Surf it on the high waves to get the double kill at the end, 3 in a row. Not just for Surf, but also for Soniqs.
We were in a shit position that round because we're going so urgent. I get the defaults up, all that. Go.
Okay, they call timeout, guys.
And the tactical timeout immediately called by G2. A perfect opening rotation from a Soniqs roster that has struggled defensively at this event. Concerning signs early on here from G2.
Well, you know what's concerning for me, right? If I'm looking at G2 holistically through the opening 3 rounds, is that they've actually been in a lot of these rounds. But you're 3-0 down, you haven't gotten any result. And in a matchup like this, you know, you kind of think club defense, you're probably expecting Soniqs to start well in this opening half, and obviously they have. But G2 have not been without their opportunities and not without their chances. They just haven't been able to capitalize. I mean, in the 3 rounds we've played, they've actually had 2 opening kills as well. So you're winning in that department. But you're unable to then follow up on that. And not only that, they had a really good opportunity in the second round when it came down to 1v1. So that was the round that they did not even get an opening kill. So in all 3 rounds, at some various point, G2 have been in a somewhat winnable position. Never more than when you're up 5-3 to start the round. But how is Surf even allowed to get into that position to deny after getting all 3 at the end? Soniqs have got all 3 to start.
Yeah, okay, we can open the whole art.
Back down to basement we go.
I also love that from Canadian, and again, it's just a reflection of the amount of experience he has at this level. Every single time there's a hype moment, he lets his team, you know, have their time, a couple of seconds to celebrate, and then bang, refocus. Let's settle, let's relax, let's continue this run. There's no point getting too overexcited 3 rounds into a potential 3-mapper. And now it's just all about replicating that success over the course of the remaining defensive rounds now on offer. On the other side of the coin for G2, it's about extracting value from that tactical timeout. They've had an opportunity to quickly reflect on what has taken place over the last few rounds and how they want to now reapproach each of these objectives. We'll see what kind of counterpunches they may now be able to land. It's critical, though, that they remain competitive. We are going to see a rather similar defensive composition this time around from Soniqs here on basement. Surf, though, has dropped the Warden in exchange for Malusi. Critically, though, Ambi is seemingly going to play this aggressive mainstairs position once more for Smoke. And casting our minds back, last time he was able to stall out 2 minutes of the round before eventually falling. That round going on to not be converted, of course, by G2. So we'll see how they go about approaching it this time around. Similar vertical opportunities on offer once more with the Ram in play. And this Malusi utility already spotted out early could be a spanner thrown in the works here to just make that mainstairs push a little bit more challenging, operating under the assumption that Ambi is looking to hold it, and you can see the red outline, he most certainly is.
It's that perceived pressure now as well from Soniqs onto G2. Oh, yeah, from below, Blaz just looks so awkward, doesn't he, in that position. Takes a bit of damage, forced into kitchen, trying to get these Boogie Auto breaches down, open up the hallway floorboards, but Soniqs are happy to play it from down below. Doki on the Deimos only has the Malusi available, but Ambi lost his life. Not for the first time. Twice now in the opening 4 rounds, Ambi's been the opening death. Soniqs are going to have to find a different avenue in finding a 4th round. But so far, they've been very versatile in doing so. Can they do it again? Nitrocell easily dealt with. Well, should be and will be. Rexon, though, captures Loira. And all Rexon can say in chat is lol. I mean, and he might get another one here. Doki's not careful. We've already seen Blaz get shot up through the floorboards as well. GT need to be very cautious of their positioning.
It's a really nasty Nitro that just thought out a bit of time and laid that seed of doubt for G2. So 4-4, minute on the clock. Triple wall exposed, but these mirror windows still offering a lot of value and backed up with those bandit batteries. A blue drop will be tough, a push down main will be a challenge. Maybe a kitchen drop will end up being the eventual play here for G2. But with at least 1 Nitro still up, easier said than done to execute.
Yeah, Doki's going for a drone in towards the blue side of the map. In 30 seconds, they've got to make a move. Moto hatch available, kitchen drop. I don't know if this is going to work. Uno with a flash prepped, ready. One in towards dirt. Surf crossing back in towards site. Time starting to go against G2 again. It's all too reminiscent of the opening round of this map. The drop from Uno, but he loses his life to Canadian, who stands strong inside of Dirt and Soniqs with all the numbers, and no time really remaining at all for G2. Once again, their attackers just look, well, incompetent. I mean, this is what it's come down to. Alamau's just prone in kitchen. There's 3 seconds left. He knows there's nothing they can do. What are they doing?
Your team is dead! Look at you, what are you doing?
I mean, Rexon makes a very good point. What are you doing?
Same shit, listening to each other. Yeah.
I mean, we have the pleasure of casting the Asia-Pacific region, and I've seen far better attacking than that. I mean, that is...
Whoa.
I'm happy to make that statement. I mean, seriously, G2 right now are not going for map control. They're not moving around the map. They're not keeping Soniqs on their toes. Soniqs are able to keep their feet planted in sight, hold key positions, deny the Soniqs are in full control on defense, Club. Well, truly. But it's the second time now that they've had basement where G2 have got the opening pick. Use that to your advantage. Start moving around. They just look so stagnant and slow.
Yeah, a large portion of that defensive strat from Soniqs is reliant on Ambi being able to stall out some decent time over towards main. And that time around, G2 was still 30 seconds faster, and it didn't translate into a whole lot. Triple wall mirror, blue mirror, they just showed no willingness to try and contest and clear those positions. And, you know, to be fair, sometimes that can work out, but lack of pressure dirt, full stack kitchen, just felt very, very underwhelming from the attack. And Soniqs, to their credit, anchoring really, really well so far on defense. Up to a 4-round streak now in this elimination match, and making a very strong case that they could snatch this map quite comfortably. Well, I say snatch, it is their selection, but still, it's been a rather dominant performance from them so far. Can G2 find some fight here? They've already used their tactical timeout, so it's now fully in the hands of the 5 players inside of the server to culminate a comeback effort. Bedroom gym for round number 4.
Well, G2 are bottom 6 at the major in terms of attacking win rate, but they're actually top 4 in terms of defensive win rate. So they don't need that many rounds attacking into Club. But the problem is you've only got now 2 opportunities to essentially find the 2 that may be necessary. So they're leaving themselves very little room remaining. But if they can find, say, this, well, upcoming 5th round and 6th round, yeah, potentially we could find ourselves with a good opportunity. But Soniqs already straight, nice and early aggression. They get to, Ambi will find a 2nd in the round, and this one's well done. Simple as 4 versus 1 with Uno outside. And Soniqs are going to make it 5-0, and this has by far and away been the most lopsided round that we've had so far here on Clubhouse. Despite the lopsided scoreline, the rounds themselves have been relatively contested. But no contest at all from G2 in this round.
Very concerning. Uno, stranded outside, 24 HP. Will not win this round. Soniqs still with their tactical timeout available. And it will be a 5-round lead here. Rexon just politely reminding G2 that the game has in fact started. Just in case.
Well, it started for one of these 2 teams. The other one's still waiting in the lobby. Maybe they're getting some catering. I don't know. G2 needs to find a way to get inside of the server. I mean, it is only the opening map of a best of 3. There are ways back into it, and this is, of course, the map pick for Soniqs. But the overall general play from G2 is getting worse as time progresses.
Clubhouse is a fundamental map.
Absolutely.
You have to be looking somewhat competitive to stand a chance in this series.
Yeah, I mean, this is a basic level map that all of the teams at this level of siege should be well and truly aware as to how to play it, how to unlock it, what to do when you've got favorable position.
So he can't play bottom carriage for free. I think we should try to do it.
I'm trying to hear what Doki's saying. He said I think we should do something. I mean, there's not much that they can do it really at this point. You're 5-0 down. This is going to take something very special. Yeah.
I think that face says it all.
I think it does. A face can sometimes speak 1,000 words, and we're getting quite a lot there. I will say, this feels like an elimination match, doesn't it, right? Like, these 2 teams, I mean, Soniqs, I think, and this is what I was kind of saying when we were kind of pre-show discussing the matchup here. Soniqs' run is a little deceiving as to why they're here. 6-8 lost to VP, 6-8 lost to SSG, and they should have beaten SSG.
Yeah.
They absolutely should have beaten SSG. There are good elements to what we've seen from Soniqs throughout this event so far, if you want to get on Copium. Whereas for G2, it's deteriorating. Like, it's getting worse. Like, that loss to Scars yesterday is far and away worse than anything we've seen from Soniqs. And right now, this match is very much showing the difference between the two teams, rightfully. But one attacking round for G2. It keeps the door ajar, very slightly. And Alamau will get the opening pick for this round. It will be their 4th opening pick in this half. Can you believe it? Into the 6th round, 4 of 6, and yet they find themselves 0-5 down.
Yeah. Many of these opening picks have not been that deep into the round. So concerns in terms of mid to late round conversion from G2 in this match so far, being left exposed time after time after time. Will this be a round that they could finally get across the line? They still have the Blitz available as well. This will be a powerful tool, and Doki perhaps posturing to contest up red stairs. Good counterplay though from Grixup. Smoke Babe just to stall that out, still has 2 in the pocket.
Oh! I mean, I like the more map-wide pressure this time for Soniqs. The pistol! Well, it's a little bit shaky from Doki, but he does eventually get the kill onto Canadian. Keeps the one-player advantage for G2. And they're starting to make their way in towards Bot Garage, which is somewhat what Doki was talking about pre-round. Rexton still up above on the dock.
Well, they haven't cleared Garage Rafters, and they don't have a Capital tool or a Grim to do this. So they're going to rely on...
He's going to get at least one, isn't he? The positioning here from Rexton is so important, and he does catch Alamau. Could he find a second? No. Shut down by Laura. 60 seconds remaining in the round as they start to make their way up towards Rafters. 23 HP, though, on Doki is not what you want when you're playing that Blitz. Good cross angle for Uno, but he is 0-5. Has not found a kill so far. Will probably need to get one in this round.
Nitro still available as well for Surf. 40 seconds on the clock, and so the plant and our potential here from Soniqs is still rather strong. But keep in mind that Blitz from Doki can lay pressure in the backline if he so wishes to go deep, and that will be the play. Surf under the pump, flashed out. Nitro in response, but I don't think it will land. It's ineffective. Bit of damage done, but Uno will critically survive.
Shoot him!
Doki needs to find this kill, unable to go deep. Elsewhere, Grixer able to find one. Loira for the trade, and now Surf left all alone.
Again, I mean, and Laura now has to get the kit. Suddenly 10 seconds remaining. He has to make a decision. Does he go for the kill, go for the plant? He tries to stick it, maybe force Surf out. Doesn't have the Nitro Soul, doesn't matter! Oh, Surf does it again for the second time in the half!
6-0, the game started!
6-0 for Soniqs in an elimination best-of-3. G2 are having an absolute nightmare few days at the major.
Wait, you gotta rehost. They gotta rehost, right? 6-0? Yeah.
And we might be heading into a rehost. Indeed, it looks like we will.
One round at a time.
Listen,
Let's go. Great half.
urgency and the tone.
Wow.
Literally just lost like 3 matches.
Alamau is chalked, I think.
I think they're all chalked. The question will be, though, can you find a way to get that reset mentally going into the second map? Very much need to make it aware for those maybe just tuning in. This is a best-of-3, but G2 will find themselves 1-0 down in said elimination best-of-3 and could very well be the first team from Phase 2 to be eliminated.
I don't think I'm going to win many alpha packs with my predictions.
My predictions are done. They are finished.
And
It's
I
not
don't think I'm
having
alone.
an absolute
I don't think we're
blast.
alone.
I'm having an amazing major. Lots of great APAC wins.
Oh, there's been plenty.
Been plenty.
We thought that maybe this could be the death of North America, but if this match continues the way in which it is, that will not be the case.
I wonder if Fresh is still wearing his G2 jersey. Ooh. Surely that's gone.
That's a great question.
Maybe he can get a Soniqs jersey. I mean, this one's, for all intents and purposes, done. It's 6-0 Soniqs. Map pick, Clubhouse.
This map is done. Yeah.
This map is done.
But the
series is not, though.
Yeah, the series recovery is going to be real tough. It's one thing to bounce back off losing your opposition's map pick in a, you know, well-contested match where maybe you're just falling short in a couple of key areas. Unfortunately, though, for G2, they haven't had much go their way at all in this particular match. Win cons have been so difficult to come by on the attack. And a lot of these 50-50 late rounds, if you want to frame them in that fashion, have been so one-sided from Soniqs thus far, where they've just been dominant.
I mean, just to note as well, we've got the B stream at the moment in terms of our promotion match. Falcons and FaZe just started their best of 3 as well. I will mention the score, so if you want to not hear the score right away, there's your 2-3 seconds. 4-3 to FaZe, about to be 5-3 to FaZe on the opening map. So they're quietly getting it done, as expected. I think FaZe being actually the first team to qualify for Phase 3 would be very on brand.
I just tuned into Fresh here.
Oh, you've tuned into Fresh on desk.
He's not even watching the G2
He's not
game.
even watching the game.
Well, I wearing the jersey.
He was 2 days ago. He's sitting there wearing his G2 jersey with pride. He's not even watching the game. He probably
I think he probably was, and then he's like,
yeah,
nah,
he's flipped over. He's like, I don't need to watch this. It's in the bin. Quick update. We are still into that technical pause, but it is now done. There you go. There's the quick update. And it is 6-0. Yep, that's right. It is still 6-0 to Soniqs, and we are, I would imagine, not too far away from being completed with Clubhouse. The bad news is, though, and as you can tell by Uno's sigh, it will be another rehost. This is the longest 6-0 I've ever done, but it is a 6-0.
You know what?
Fresh actually just said, I am watching, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
Maybe he tuned out because of the pause.
So
Probably fair.
So now for this particular rehost, let's cast our minds a little forward. Kafe to come, picked by G2. What do you need to see from them in terms of the fundamentals that they can get back into this series and they can turn things around?
One of the big problems they've had on attack is more often than not, they're winning the opening duel. Again, more often than not, with a decent chunk of time left in the round.
Correct.
And we've even then seen them go on to experiment a little bit around the map and try and find points of weakness, maybe try to employ a bit of split theory. Hasn't really worked out for the most part. They've also had a couple of rounds where they've looked to consolidate in specific positions. There's that really good example, Basement, where they're just full stack kitchen, like, okay, let's just fully drop, let's ignore every other part of the map, not contest the mirror windows, etc., etc. That also fell flat. They need to do a much better job, in my opinion, of trying to better contest and dislodge key power positions from the defense. Soniqs have such great gunners and anchor players as well in combination that can, one, roam around and be a bit more dynamic, your likes of an Ambi, for instance, but also your Canadians of the world that can more than comfortably sit in a key part of the objective and shut down pushes as well. So Soniqs have had all their bases covered, and G2 finding it very difficult mid to late round to find win cons and convert. And even still, when they maybe have found a win condition or two, and maybe it comes down to a close 1 versus 1, well, guess what? Soniqs have also had the clutch factor. So it's been really rough for G2. I don't think they've played absolutely horribly on this map. But
Their late round executes have been awful.
They've looked, short of the mark.
Everything else has been far more acceptable, and
Yeah.
if they had have been better in the clutch and better in the late round scenarios, I'm sure we wouldn't be staring down a 6-0. The reality is we are. The reality is Soniqs 1 round away from securing the opening map of this elimination best of 3. Again, Kafe to follow this, picked by G2. It's going to take some kind of mental reset, though, to, of course, get this one to border. The Soniqs have looked tremendous. What a game from Surf. 9-1.
Yeah.
Plus 8 on the KD. He's 1-0 on his entry with a 100% cost.
Wow. Yeah, he's had some pretty big impact moments as well. It's not even a case of farming freebies. It's been genuine impact, so...
Uno, though, on the other hand, is now minus 24 KD at the major.
Ooh.
With a 0-5 at the moment. Or I think actually maybe 0-6 now. This hasn't quite updated, but...
Oh, no.
Opening kill for Ambi on to Doki. Sets the tone nice and early here for the 7th round.
Ooh. Lucky Ambi didn't go down to type thank you, otherwise he would have died from the run out. Maybe that was the grand plan.
Big brain IQ. Good start to the round though for Soniqs, looking to close this one off as they possibly can as quick as possible. 7-0 would also be a bit of a statement, wouldn't it? I think for G2, it's can you at least get one on the board? You don't want to get 7-0 to begin this elimination best of 3. Rexon slowly making his way in towards Garage.
Alamau inside of stock. I can't quite tell if the hatch, though, is opened up, so he may be playing for life as opposed to an escape avenue. You can see that outline at the moment. Alamau now to progress through. Logic Bomb to stall it out. The hatch is closed, but Alamau with impacts in pocket. Just trying to make a bit of a Hail Mary play, it would seem, and his position is now known. Spray through the wall.
Well, that's what it feels like for G2s, right? As the game has progressed, it's almost like the individuals are trying to just make something happen rather than the collective, whereas for Soniqs as a team have played really well together. They're playing off each other. They got strategy.
Oh, no.
This is also a very decent drone here from Grixer, and it will be played off. Alabama will lose his life on the roam. 5 up to 3 for Soniqs. Still doing the basics as well. Claymore placed towards Oil Pit. You can play off of this position as well. And already you can see the difference in the way that Soniqs are approaching this very site in comparison to G2, who went for the more basic approach, kitchen hallway. Soniqs have got good map control. They're forcing G2 to try and push up, go for these peaks. Not playing the more conventional way. Does mean, of course, as we do progress, time will be a factor. Kitchen hatch, though, opened up. Drone in towards site from Grixer. Notices very much that Arsenal is quite open for the taking. One in blue, one in church, leaving only Uno to back of Arsenal to contest. We all know that Montang down bot main stairs is going to be a nuisance as Canadian makes his way over. Mirror window still up on the triple wall, but it will be dealt with swiftly. And right now, Canadian moving with purpose. I mean, he's taken this control. This is an absolute beatdown from Soniqs onto G2. Canadian waltzing into sight on the Montang. There is no response at all from G2. Uno does find the kill. The irony for the man struggling so immensely at this major. Nitrocell thrown, but full white from the flash. With the plant down, it's done. 7-0 from Soniqs against G2. And they will let them know all about it.
Wow, wow, wow. I expected Soniqs to perform this evening. I did not expect a flawless map, though, to kick off this particular series. Utterly dominant in all facets of the game, and G2 will need to do quite a bit of soul-searching to recover this match.
Yeah, Kafe to follow this, of course. It is a best of 3, so this one isn't over, but it has been a statement map from Soniqs to win in the way that they did 7-0. The longest 7-0 you will ever get with the rehosts that we did end up getting. But still, for Soniqs, by far and away better. Across most of the facets of that match, we kind of spoke about throughout those lengthy rehosts, the opening portions of the game for G2 certainly were there, and that's something they can maybe look at in terms of the positive aspects. If you really want to dig deep into a 7-0 loss and find some positives, that is certainly there going into Kafe following this.
Yeah, we need to see mid to late round conversion from G2, especially on attack, because obviously that's what we saw for the majority of this match. Dislodging positions, applying pressure, forcing Soniqs to make uncomfortable and, you know, plays that aren't in their favor. We didn't see that really at all. There was no discomfort from Soniqs at all across the first 6 rounds.
In the opening round, they had the opening kill. They should have really done a lot better. In the second round, while they didn't have the opening kill, we saw there in the replay, it came down to that 1 versus 1, where they arguably could have and maybe should have won that particular round. Then in the third round, Cash on CCTV, opening kill, Surf gets 3K at the end, clutches up the round. So in the opening 3 rounds of this game, G2 were in some kind of position where you could systematically say they maybe could have won that round, and it could have been 3-0 to G2. I'm not saying it should have, but it could have. Unfortunately, there's no should have or could haves at a major. There is only do or die, and while Soniqs did do 7-0. And man, G2 are going to have to very quickly find a way to pick themselves back up heading into Kafe. It's going to be a very tall order. I'm not putting a line through it, but my goodness, they're going to have to find a way to bounce back. And if they can, credit to them. But I'm not sensing it's going to happen. I've got to say, Soniqs from here surely close this series out because they were so dominant.
The harsh reality is G2 are 1 map away from not being able to qualify for 6th Invitational 2025 on points.
Yeah,
this
that's the big
is
one.
a massive next couple of maps potentially for them if they're able to push it to a 3rd. This is huge. The pressure is mounting big time.
Absolutely. Don't go too far, of course. This being a best of 3 means the second map for Kafe not too far away.
Tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Hey, tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up, I'm a pilot. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Hey, tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Well, a dramatic start to our elimination match here for G2 and Soniqs. Soniqs getting a 7-0 resounding victory in the opening map. Kafe to come very shortly. Of course, on the B stream, it is FaZe Clan and Falcons doing battle in the promotional match to see who can go to Phase 3. FaZe Clan, though, taking it out 7-3 in the opening map on Clubhouse. A little bit more competitive, guys.
Slightly more competitive. I think it would be hard to be less competitive. It would be hard to be compared to our match. But either way, jumping across to Kafe for this second map, and it's do or die for G2.
Yeah, do you want a Soniqs fun fact as well?
I would love one.
The FaZe Falcon Games is also going to jump over to Kafe as well.
Wow.
So they've copied us. It's club into Kafe, club into Kafe. Well, they've got labs. They've got border.
Okay.
So not quite the whole way. What do we need to see from G2 here? The onus is entirely on them. For Soniqs 7-0, amazing job on Clubhouse, job done. They'll be feeling ramped and ready to go coming into Kafe. For G2, it's all about that mental reset. Can they find a way to just kind of cast their mind aside of what happened and what transpired on Clubhouse, come into Kafe with a fresh new agenda, attacking first up, gives them the perspective that they can maybe try and set the tone nice and early.
All comes down to attack. And fortunately for us, G2 will start on the attacking side here into Kafe. How will they go about converting opening kills? That advantage that they were able to obtain multiple times back on Clubhouse did not translate to round wins. Soniqs looked really good at the death in the late round, shutting down these attacks from G2. As the bans come through, the Grim off the board, so it's a little bit intriguing there from Soniqs. Takes away some of the crowd control potential available to G2. Laz plays a lot of that particular operator. It is his most played over the last few months. The rest are a little bit more stock standard, and with the Monty off the board, Canadian has that tool taken away. Saw a little bit of that on Clubhouse, and the only reason we saw a little bit of it was because they only had to win one attacking round, and they did.
Yeah, even Uno doesn't mind a bit of Grim himself as well, so I think it's a pretty decent ban from the side of Soniqs. Montaigne taken off the board in terms of shield play. They still have the Blitz available. So Soniqs to defend first up. They'll be taking us actually over to Kitchen to begin here for Kafe's second map of this elimination best of 3. G2 now need to find themselves winning the next 2 maps, border the decider if necessary. For Soniqs, 1 map away from securing the first victory at the Montreal Major for a North American team against, well, a team that's not from North America.
Perhaps, again, you may just be tuning in, or you want an update as to the stakes of this particular matchup. The Majors, of course, feeding points towards Six Invitational 2025 and the global standings. As we sit right now, G2 Esports on 260 points. Funnily enough, actually leading the Soniqs at 220. Both teams, though, outside the top 16. And so it goes without saying, you lose this match, your last chance at qualifying for Boston is through the LCQ, and it is going to be ultra competitive this year. Winning this, again, doesn't necessarily qualify you either, so Soniqs will need to make a bit of a run if they are to win, or G2 if they make the comeback work here this evening, but
keeps hopes alive, doesn't it? Yeah.
Keeps hopes alive. But it also means there is a lot of pressure for the remainder of this match.
Yeah, I mean, just natural pressure in itself, being an elimination from the Major is one thing. To add SI into it as well for the equation, further stakes. G2, all eyes on them though. For Soniqs, they've got a bit of a pass here after that 7-0 result on Clubhouse. Not really huge expectations to do something similar here on the second map. It's all about whether or not there will be that response from G2 and if it is swift. So far in this entire series, they've yet to find a round win. That in itself is already staggering. If they can get one on the board nice and early, that's so important for the mental aspect of G2. And we've already spoken about it at length, but the early portion of these rounds haven't necessarily been the issue for them. In this instance, though, it will be, with Ambi finding the opening kill onto Doki. Una cannot find a response. Over towards Train on the ramp to open up the floorboards with the Boogie Auto breaches. Trying to gain some vert, as Alamout will get the kill onto Grixel. It deals with the Legion, no more goo mines to generate throughout the round. And so far it's a 4 versus 4. Plenty of time still remaining for G2 to make their way towards Kitchen.
Just the 3 drones up then for the attack, so G2 will need to extract the value from these. try and isolate Rexon at the moment over towards that bar position. He can hold down that line and apply a pressure on this portion of the map. Has successfully been droned out. What's the follow-up to look like, though, from G2? Cap the flames.
It's working.
Kind of.
He's just kind of sitting in it, but now over to the side of it, but no follow-up.
Hello?
Now the flash, but still no follow-up. A very slow approach right now, and Alamau's actually the one who's taken more damage. A bit of pressure from Ambi towards VIP. And suddenly the time, the clock, it's dwindling once again. Signs of Clubhouse potentially. And Rexon will get himself a free kill on to Blaz. G2 once again in a similar fashion to what we saw on Clubhouse. As soon as it comes time to hit the site and execute, they just blunder. And that's the most concerning factor if you are a G2 fan, is that they've not been able to fix the issues that were beholden of them over on the opening map. There's 5 seconds left to flash. It's all too late right now, though. The kills, yes, starting to go the way of G2, but the time is against them. No surprise.
Let's go, Troy! Make them earn the fucking round. Let's go. Too slow.
Hey, see, I'm not the only one saying too slow. Even Soniqs is saying it.
If Super says that, it must be the truth. I back him in.
Look, I mean, I think it's quite evident, though, that was the issue back on Clubhouse. If it's going to be the issue again on Kafe in this opening half, it's just not going to be a good time again for G2. We can clearly see the issues that are plaguing them. They've got to find a way to fix these late rounds.
Yeah, I think that round there, and in particular the play to try and flush out Rex and Bar, really highlighted some of the issues that G2 were having. It was good util dump into that position. They had the read off the back of the drone to try and help clear that. Lack of pressure through VIP onto Ambi meant that that cross was established and difficult to break, and no one really had the confidence to maybe go for that play, clear that, and start unlocking the rest of the map. And then it led to more Hail Mary plays, similar to what we saw back on Club.
I mean, that's a really good way as well in terms of mindset. Make them earn it. It is fundamentally one of the best ways to kind of look at Siege. Is like, you've got to force them to be the ones to try and clear your positions, be the ones to use that clock management. If you're just pushing and you're being super aggressive on the defense, especially on maps like both Kafe and Clubhouse, you're giving them avenues. You're giving them a way in.
Well, when you think about this series so far and the 8 rounds that have played out, I'm struggling to think of many freebies that Soniqs have given throughout this
Ambi on main stairs a couple of times, but I mean...
But even then, he traded out half the round for time, right?
It's not like a full-blown throwaway.
He didn't die like 30 seconds into the round using no util or something silly like that, right?
And so they're making it very difficult. I mean, G2 are just not in a position where they're able to get these opening kills to then follow up on it. Even though still you go to that opening map, they got their opening kills, but they just weren't in the conventional way where it was like Soniqs, as you said, throwing a life away.
So it's a 12 flash lineup here for G2 on the attack. Likely looking to flush out positions, and the double nades from Uno.
I mean, that could be a good sign, potentially. It is mining, by the way, for this second round. Is there a world in which G2 might just say, let's just bring a huge amount of flashes, dump them in, and push off it. Let's try and be a little bit more aggressive, especially on the execute. Well, it's a utility that helps with the execute. It's certainly going to be those flashes. So it does get the opening kill, but I think he is going to fall, and that's the will.
Oh, wow.
Couple of trades in towards the white corridor, and G2 are just being torn apart in this second round. Blaz stuck outside on the terrace with no chance really in this position to be able to salvage it. Absolutely not. Caught on the rappel anyway at the end. And Soniqs will make it a swift 2-0. It's 9-0 in the elimination best of 3. 9-0. I woke up this morning and I was excited. I thought, man, we're doing G2, we're doing Soniqs, man. Everyone's like, it's 50-50. Everyone's making fun of North America. Well, who's making fun of them now? It's certainly not G2, it's certainly not Europe, because they're about to be the first region out of Phase 2. And they're going out without even any fight. There's no swing, there's no punch. It's... Someone is to throw in the towel. This is just looking like a bloodbath. Tactical timeout taken, rightfully so, because you're running out of chances, right? You can't allow this to even get to like 4-0 second map of an elimination game. It's 2-0. You lost 7-0 on the opening map. Time to really talk things over. Like, guys, we got to lock in because otherwise we're going home. today. We're going home in 40 minutes, potentially, with the rate that this series is going in terms of its pacing. I thought they had the right idea to try and maybe be more aggressive in the early portion of the round, but Soniqs were just switched on. Great top hold. They were ready for it. And I do wonder as well in terms of the longevity of this tournament for Soniqs. They've got a long path, don't get me wrong, to phase 3. But you can go on a run. You can go on a run, you can build for momentum, and this could be the catalyst for them to maybe go on said run.
Very early tactical timeout from G2. They know that their tournament and their potential position in the top 16 for global standings is under serious threat.
Uno and Blaz are 1 and 9 in the series right now, both of them.
Yeah.
Serve is 12 and 1. If you want to look at a more positive light, he is playing tremendously. 2-0, and actually still 2-0 on the entry, and still 100% cost. What a performance from Surf so far in the series overall. Soniqs as a team, though, have looked tremendous, leaving no room whatsoever for G2 to find avenues of success as we now head over to the more conventional site of Reading and Fireplace for the third round. It will be a similar hold up above, of course, for Soniqs. Loira, G2, do they go fast in towards Reading? Still barricaded off, but got good pillar control, and indeed the pacing has been picked up. Uno in towards Train, and he does have the kit. Must win this fight, though. But a Canadian just prone, catches out Doki. They're not pushing together. They're not playing together.
Oh, come on,
Canadian
guys.
get another one? No, shut down by Blaz.
Wow.
Guys, you had a 3-on-1 against Canadian. He still finds the kill. Uno in mining with the diffuser. Certainly better pacing from G2, but Soniqs have got the numbers advantage.
Every play that they look to execute just looks so sketchy. There's a lack of confidence for G2 at the moment.
You know what
Even
this
off the back
G2
of that
team needs? They need like a virtue to just get some clutch moments. Really feeling a missing presence on this roster. Well, Uno understands that site might be open, but the ability to get into site isn't open. He's playing this patiently. They've got the time.
Well, still 2-stack, in fact 3-stack on the third floor from Soniqs. Surely G2 need to go up and contest. Looking to flood site will be a real challenge.
Uno's going to go in on the repel, though. Alamau caught by Ambi. Uno going to get the plant out. No, denied. He too will be dead. Blaz by himself in mining. This round's done. It's about to be a 3-0 start, and that tactical timeout for G2 will not warrant a round win. They will be 10-0'd at the moment. They are 10-0 down in this elimination best of 3. G2 still yet to get a single round.
Great identification, Troy.
That was a great identification, Troy.
What the fuck is happening?
What is happening?
Hey, tech pause, tech pause, tech pause.
Oh, tech pause.
Yeah, be quiet.
That's probably the only way that G2's going to win right now if Sonic break the rules.
It's probably the only way that they're going to silence their opposition at the moment. From the very beginning of this match, Soniqs have been in their heads. Absolutely rent-free. It must be a good feeling as a North American fan right now, because it has been a bit of a challenging tournament thus far.
I mean, there's winning, right?
Oh, this is
and then there's this. Have we had anything? I mean,
I wonder what the scorelines were for some of the Ealing games at Manchester. I might have a bit of a look here.
What do you, I mean, like, how do you turn this around if you're G2? I just don't know how. And that's the thing as well as a player. You get to a point where you just kind of almost allow those bad thoughts to creep into your mind that, wow, we really are just getting destroyed. And the ability to get back into the series is shrinking round by round. We have not even found a singular round yet.
At Manchester, that of all the elimination games, there wasn't even a 7-0. Not a single one.
Well, this is about to be 14-0 if G2 can't find a round. Rehost over. Actually, I don't even know if it was a full-blown rehost. That seems far too quick. I think it was just a rejoin into the lobby. I am correct. Stats will stay for some. But even the presence of mind there from Ambi to go for the jump out, because they had information on the rappel. I think it was potentially Grixer or Rex, I can't recall, that was in shop. They got the intel, he plays off that. They know then he can actually rotate towards mining window, play off of that. So like, they just were always one step ahead against G2. Even though G2 in the last 2 rounds have really dramatically changed their pacing in the early portion. You know what my concern with that is? The early portion hasn't been their issue. If you go all the way back to Clubhouse and now into Kafe, the early portion's been fine. So why are you worrying about changing the early portion? Why? Like, is that what they've communicated as a team? Is that, oh, we need to go faster at the start? No, you just need to execute better at the end. Maybe they don't feel like they've got the capabilities to do that though, and so they feel like if we can just maybe win the round inside the first minute. While Ambi, within the first minute, gets the opening kill onto Uno with a Nitro Cell. Couple of trades for G2, but it's all evened up with that kill from Grixer onto Doki. A very early fight again here in the 4th round. G2's pacing has dramatically changed over the last few rounds of Kafe, but not really to the benefit. But it is forcing Soniqs to be a few more players, well, lesser off in terms of their site positions now. So for Canadian, Grixer and Surf, they will be stretched thin on the defense, and now they've got the blitz of Alamau pushing in towards site. Through surface he goes, one up close, that's the Mozzie of Canadian. He does have a Nitro Cell, and it does a decent job. The pistol too slow from Alamau. Lawyer with the Adrenal Surge gets him back up to 60 HP, but Blaz will fall behind him. Does at least bring Alamau back up with said Adrenal Surge, as he was downed initially by that Nitro Cell. Now looking to stick the kit onto the floor. Minute 50, so much time remaining. Alamau will be successful and suddenly now into a post-plant scenario, and the most winnable round that G2 have had since the beginning of Clubhouse, but even still so difficult with only Loira remaining in the 1v2 post-plant against Surf and Grixer. Surf has already shut them down so many times back on Club. He does so once again on Kafe, and it will be 11-0 to Soniqs.
I was staring at it.
If I'm Goyo, instant 3K. Wipe the whole fucking lobby.
Yo, 300 IQ pick, not picking Goyo low key.
I'm saying though, bro.
I also want to say that in the chat, Surf has said almost. You almost got one, you didn't. Oh, 4-0.
Yeah, G2 are absolutely cooked. We've seen them try. To be fair, again, I don't be absolutely super critical of them in terms of their willingness to experiment over the course of this matchup. We have seen them try different things. The last few rounds, it's been that big amp up in tempo and pace in the early round, and even still, arguably there in the last round, where it was actually rather successful in unlocking VIP, opening the avenue in towards Freezer and a default plant, even still having the clutch aspect of the Finka res as well, getting the plant down, it still fell short.
Yeah.
Soniqs are not giving them anything for free.
No, they're not. It's been honestly quite disappointing. I expected quite a lot out of this matchup. I was very much hoping that we would get, you know, a very fascinating and entertaining battle between two teams that I respect so greatly. But I mean, Soniqs have just been so far and away better. It's not even funny.
We've gone from an elimination match. SI points on the line. It's going to be tantalizing. It's going to be close. Who's going to be the team to lose? The question now is, will Soniqs win this in a 14-0 fashion? That's the answer that we're all waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a matter of will they win, it's by how much and when will they win. Unless.
Hey, Siege is a very funny game, but I don't think it's quite this funny.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take something very special, of course. We've been very lucky in the Siege landscape in terms of esports that historically you can get some crazy and circumstantial comebacks, but again, they're pacing, they're just going for broke. G2 have had enough. Once again, going fast on the initial entry. The Adrenal Surge activated by Doki, but it cannot keep him alive for very long. Opening kill to Grixer. Uno does get on the board with that one, and maybe this could be the round, but Ambi quick to shut down Alamau, as he did find Rexa 3v3, as the last round was prior, but Uno will fall, and once again, despite the fast start from G2, Soniqs have all the response. Pistol out, Canadian, that's a shot through the heart of G2. G2 are just sending it down mid.
I did the same shit to them the previous round.
This one's done.
I love that from Canadian. I did the same shit. He did, right? Inside of that train position again, able to just lock it down prone. Crazy.
It's like they're just running it down mid, and they're just... G2 are cooked. They've given up. Like, this is not how you play Siege at a major. What are you guys doing? They are chalked.
I wonder what the greater fallout from this event may be for G2. This team, this project.
The only thing they haven't tried so far, I think, is the
not
C1
yielding
hit,
success
right?
at the international level.
C1 this time.
Soniqs, though, with their revitalized team, looking really damn good now.
Cannon reading the wall.
If they do, then power CS.
Got 2 cam.
I do love getting the player comms, though, and then their thought process. And Canadian was exactly right. This is the second time he's done this. But this time with the pistols. he's gone up a level. He's evolved. So, for those that missed the opening map, of course, you can see in the top right, 7-0 to Soniqs and Clubhouse. They're about to repeat it on Kafe. They are up 5-0. They're up 12-0 in this elimination match at the major. Reading in fireplace for the final round of this half. Final defensive round for Soniqs. And again, kind of going back to the ability for Soniqs to kind of build on this. I mean, I would not want to play Soniqs in the next round.
No.
They look rejuvenated. And of course, the questions will be, is it just because they play G2? Oh, that is a multiple dump of nades thrown in. Well, a kill for G2, but it's not from G2. Rexon with the TK. Surf does get rid of Uno, but G2 maybe could find a round and spoil the party, as sure. Now, everyone would love to see the 14-0. G2 could just about deny that. The entry in from Alaval is swift, but he does lose his life anyway. Surf just keeps on riding them. But finally shut down by Blaz. And surely this will be the round in which G2 will find a said round. Doki down on the floor, all down to Grixer in a 1v2. Can he find it? No. Lyra will finally get G2 on the board. As disappointing as they have been in this elimination, they disappoint us once again because they deny the 14-0. G2 just can't win. I'm trolling a little bit there. So a 5-1 half for Soniqs, but let's be honest, it's going to take something very miracle-like from G2 to bring this one back.
Yeah, another example there of G2 ramping up the tempo in the early round. Again, another big util dump over towards that cocktail position. Aided off the back of a team kill as well from Soniqs, looking to respond with the Nitro Cell. The follow-up from G2 again looked rather sketchy, but eventually able to clear. I believe it was Grixer playing that position.
Intriguing triple nade dump, though. Imagine dodging all of those, and then you can't dodge your teammate's Nitro Cell. That would be tilting. All right, well, half done. Soniqs, of course, will have to finish this off on the attacking side. These were, oh yeah, there you go. It's like 3 nades thrown in. Where he runs to is then into his teammate's Nitro Cell.
Let's go, guys!
I'm sorry. I respect that. That's fair enough. The game's still alive. This one's not over. Comebacks happen. You've got to keep spirits high.
It would be the greatest 1-5 comeback I've ever seen in the history of the esport.
It would be one of the greater comebacks I've ever seen in anything. They are on defense, though. So if you want to kind of get serious for a second, right? Kafe defense can certainly be a side on a particular map where you can get a couple of rounds in a row. But it's so difficult, and I'm typically the one that likes to try and give teams, you know, the opportunity to get back into these series. Like, I don't necessarily want to say G2's done, but it's so difficult considering the, you know, the holistical nature of this entire series and what we've seen and how it's all transpired. Opening map domination, you know, 5-0 down on the second map. You'd be kidding yourself if you honestly can say G2's going to bring this back. So that's the position they find themselves in. The question will be now, can they subvert expectations? Can they do something crazy? It's all on them, no one else. To start the second half, Canadian on the Kali. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, rather effective tool into the castle. Those lance charges can aid in clearing that utility, as well as the mirror windows from range as well. And so Canadian will posture over towards that rappel. Zambi now actually will look to push forward. Bit of control through Cigar Shop, and the Ash charges as well will aid in the util clearance. That puts Lyra now in a bit of a precarious position, but able to peel back midway through the round.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit slower pacing right now from Soniqs in comparison to what we saw from G2, who really ramped up their ferociousness, closing out that opening half. And of course, rewarding them with a round win. Ambi, though, is just going to push straight in. Loira had no idea, was looking to get in towards backstore, and Ambi's just walked straight on in. Easy double kill. And suddenly puts G2 rightfully under the pump. Over towards Pillar for Blaz, and he cannot find a response. He's getting shot at from everywhere. All the pressure on G2 defensively now. Of course, Grix are on the floor, so it's in theory a 3v2. He will get confirmed. Certainly still winnable for G2, but well, Soniqs are in the driver's seat.
Surf has used all his Candelas and smokes as well, so in terms of XE utility, it's not amazing. For Soniqs equally though, Uno has already expended his Nitro Cell, and with the man advantage, Soniqs should be able to set up tradable positions here and prevent the plant denial attempt from G2.
You just know if Soniqs win this round, that's probably all she wrote. Blaz, is his position known? I thought they would line up. Indeed they did, but Ambi does get the headshot, and now they've got a 2v1 scenario against Uno, who's been statistically the worst player for G2 at the tournament, and then, wow, he can't win it out. Match and series point for Soniqs has been acquired, and they can be the ones to send G2 to the airport.
Dude, shit like that, 0-0. With confidence and playing together, that's it. I don't give a fuck if we die doing it. Just literally comment to each other, do it together. Yes, you can play, bro. You can walk it whoever the fuck you want.
0-0, guys.
Surf's having fun with the heat warmers. Every time we hands over to him, he's just like, he's got like the maracas out.
Man, I want to play some ranked with Canadian. I would love him in my
I think Canadian would enable me to be a good player. It would be very
Canadian is good. He's
it
not
would
quite
certify
that good.
his GOAT status.
He's not quite that good. I don't think he could even carry you. I just love the composure that they've.
Well, I mean, this is the difference maker. Someone like Ambi to have the knowledge that the washrooms player can't see him, with mirror being broken, that he can walk on in, clear washrooms. He's probably not being helped out by the player in Cocktail, and he finds the double kill. We didn't see anything like that from G2 because they just started to lose their mental and do weird flash dumps and frag dumps and rushing. As soon as Soniqs get onto the attack, they're actually doing calculated attacking plays. They're clearing out positions, doing the checklist stuff. So 5 match point opportunities for Soniqs to send G2 out of the Montreal Major. They had the run in Phase 1 to get themselves out, but it seems like Phase 2 is going to be where they are done.
Dark Zero v D+ on the other side of this one as well, so it could be a true change of fortune for the North America region this evening.
Ambi losing his life over towards Red.
I did not quite see that one coming.
Blaz makes his way back over to Shop. G2 want to stay at the Major a little bit longer. They will need 5 rounds in a row, which is certainly not going to be an easy task against a Soniqs team that just looks rejuvenated, playing together, very coordinated, in sync, and typically not making really that many mistakes.
Yep. That's been the biggest thing for me. Mistake minimization has been massive in this series. Soniqs have done a phenomenal job in playing really solid Siege and not giving G2 many opportunities at all across both maps.
Good drone work here from Canadian. Gets a lot of information on the backside of Bar in towards Cocktail as well. They have lost Ambi, but they've certainly got enough firepower elsewhere. Surf has been sensational and easily the MVP of this series. 19-2 coming into this round. Grixer evens up eventually. The trade from the original death of Ambi. Delayed. Canadian deep into Bar, and he's got himself into a very good position, but he cannot win the battle against Uno. Glass is activated in a very good position as well, and with Rexon on the floor, it's only Surf up above. He doesn't care about his KD. He sends it in through the skylight, but to his death. G2 will find a second round.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange round there from Soniqs. They went for the ambi send up the staircase. That was unsuccessful, and then that meant the shop was pretty well fortified at the back of the castle utility. We saw the pivot and the skylight drop then come through from Soniqs. they didn't feel particularly confident going for plan and wanted to maybe try and net a kill, try and find that ward and get him off the board because of the threat that poses. Unfortunately, it was Canadian that had to try and spearhead that effort. He lost the duel, dropped the diffuser, and with that, the round was pretty much all but done. So solid work there from G2, but a long road forward.
Nice! Let's go, Lloyd!
Spirits high with Doki from the previous round and even this one. 4 more rounds required without failure, without mistake for G2 on the defense of Kafe here in the second map of this elimination series. Attacker change up for Soniqs. Quite a big one. They bring the Jackal as well for Rexon.
Yeah, it'll be a full top-down clear, double vert, and the Jackal. And you also have the Flores. And those Roteros can be utilized to clear both the castle barricades and the canisters from Goyo. So I really like this pivot.
Really does suggest, though, not a lot of pressure probably on the bakery side here in terms of the lateral. Eventually get mining and train control, use the skeleton key, the boogie auto breaches to open up the floorboards, keep pressure from above, and then maybe on a backside freezer hit will be the plan of attack for Soniqs. Alum out. Potential thorn in their side on the Vigil. Holding bar at the moment, but will drop pillar. But will he stick around? Castle barricades as well. So I think right now for G2, the anticipation is they will look to contest this second floor. But for how long? Alamau actually dropping all the way down below, and Blaz will follow. So not for very long in the end.
That will now allow the vertical combination of this Buck and Ram to get to work.
It's almost like perceived pressure here from G2 with the castle barricades. Forces Soniqs to clear this out. Have to potentially use some utility up there, up above. That's going to be a Vulcan canister. Pot nice and early, and a very good one, trying to deny both plant positions. 90 seconds, so timing right now, I think, for Soniqs, considering they just got rid of that canister. I think they're on pace for a lot of their clear. No contest from G2. You can hear the boogie auto breaches in the background getting to work as well through mining into train. Will they get some bakery pressure though?
Yeah, it's not necessarily a requirement, but we are going to see that rotation come through. Diffuser in the hands of Canadian. Candela's to go deep.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Uno just got completely caught over towards Smallbank as well as main, and default shot out. That's Soniqs now up a player. They got great positioning, good vert. Pressure as well. All of the checklists now completed for Soniqs. Doki thought he could get aggressive though through the breach, and he loses his life. Another pistol kill for Canadian. And G2, we are about to say goodbye at the Montreal Major for them. Their time here is surely done. Indeed it is. Soniqs will send them packing to the nearest airport. G2 are out as Soniqs will take it 2-0 in this elimination match. Doki has been left scratching his head as to what has transpired here in phase 2 of the Major.